Hi, this sleuthing channel aims to teach you to invest better, not give you stock tips. That is, teach you how to fish better, not to hand you free fish. But I was told recently by some viewers, can't you give us an example of one? Just one? Okay, here is one. The stock is Boeing. But just to make sure, again, this is not a recommendation, only an example of how to view value separate from the numbers. Now, why do I think Boeing is worth sleuthing at all? After all, there are many reasons why any sensible investor should stay away from it. Here are the top three. First, almost anything that could have gone wrong with the company did. Instead of focusing on the business, management borrowed to buy back stock while cutting corners on the Boeing MAX design, both foolish and irresponsible. Second, these bump decisions caused crashes which killed 2 plane loads of travelers. So Boeing's customers, that is airlines, stopped buying the planes. Third, not only the airlines stopped buying the planes, but the customers' passengers stopped flying them, even before Corona. And when passengers eventually do fly again, they may take Airbus instead, not Boeing, because they are scared of Boeing planes and angry at the company. And we said nothing yet about lawsuits. So, why do I still think Boeing stock is worth a serious look? Just because the price is lower? Oh no. Rather because something called franchise value, which number-oriented investors usually miss, but sleuth can see if they know how to go about it. Would you like to? Let me give you then 2 examples of this hidden value from Warren Buffett's world, then tell you how it applies to Boeing. First example, the New York Times. Warren Buffett famously said once, assume the New York Times stopped publishing because its printing press burned down in the days where presses were necessary, before internet. So the paper closed and all revenue stopped for a year. Buffett's question was, how much would you pay for the right to republish it? After all, even temporarily shut down New York Times would surely have a value, right? But what is this value? Can you compute it? If you can become another Warren Buffett because you too will see opportunities where others see only disasters. The second Buffett example, Geico, government employees insurance company. When Geico went bankrupt, Warren Buffett sleuthed it by talking to customers directly and to the men in charge of the bankruptcy. Then he mopped up every share he could find. Because although temporarily bust, Geico still had the right to sell insurance to almost 1 million government employees. How much was that right worth? A lot. Buffett saw this and bought the stock. Which brings me to Boeing. It is now in deep doo-doo. Revenues are lower, dividend was cut, losses are heavy, analysts downgrade the stock daily. In short, the numbers stink. But what is Boeing's non-numerical value? And how to go about finding it? Yes, airlines did stop buying the Boeing MAX because foolish management tried to make a kludge design stable by putting little flappers on the nose, like forcing you to walk in tight, cheap shoes, then stick fans on your ears to push you straight when you totter. You may now ask, how can I speak about airplane design? What am I, an aeronautical engineer? The answer is yes, I am. I have a Bachelor of Science in Aeronautical Engineering from the Israeli Technion, had worked on the design of the Airbus in France, and then on the de Havilland -7 in Canada, which, by the way, was later sold to Boeing. In sum, I designed planes myself and also flew them, and later on Bay Street, I also turned around companies. So I know of what I speak when I tell you that Boeing's problems are fixable. It's only a question of money, time, good management, and I hate to say this, good PR. But the hidden value goes well beyond that. You see, airlines are not Boeing's only customers. Oh no, far from it. Boeing also has an enormous military business. Military. In fact, it is part and parcel of what President Eisenhower called once the military-industrial complex. Boeing is part of the American empire system of world dominance. It is a critical component of American power. So when Boeing screws up badly, like it recently did, the American empire suffers, but then the empire strikes back. It already has. The US government gave Boeing some billions, that is pocket money, insisted on change of management, and made sure the government would have a closer inspection of all of Boeing's decisions. Not just because two airlines crashed. No, the empire cares little about that, but because Boeing is a key part of the empire's future plan. What future plans are these? In a word, space. You see, besides airlines, Boeing also makes satellites and space planes and missiles and rockets and secret military planes, and is an integral part of the US new push into the greatest commercial frontier of the last 100 years. Yes, bigger than the internet. And I mean space. So big is the potential of space business that almost all self-made billionaires are now pushing to be part of it. Jim Bezos has been selling Amazon shares to invest in space activities. Elon Musk is building reusable rockets. Richard Branson of Virgin Airlines has built a low-level space tourism plane and now thinks of hotels in space. On top, the US government had just announced a push into space business, both military and commercial. A big push that will last not for years, but for decades to come. Decades. As for the military side, a US Space Force was just created by President Trump just recently. It is one more military branch on top of the Army, Navy, and Air Force. And it just began to advertise to recruit men and women who, so they say, see their destiny outside Earth. Second is the commercial side. President Trump also organized a consortium of Western countries, no Russia, no China, to put on a legal basis the mining of asteroids and perhaps also start settling on the moon. All this sounds like science fiction pipe dream, but it is a big budget. There's a big budget behind it, and don't forget, the Fed can now print money whenever it wants. In fact, all this has already started. Rumors are that some secret US space vehicles are already in operation. There's a long history of secret planes used by the US government for years before being made public. Some were made by Lockheed's famous Skunk Works, but others were made by Boeing and still are. There's no question that Boeing will be a part of future space business push, whether civilian or military. Indeed, the company's experience is 160,000 people, and their expertise are a national asset that the US empire cannot and will not give up. How is that for value? Airline crashes, PR disasters, management screw-up, stock crashes are just a temporary blip. The empire plans are not a matter of months or even years, but decades, and Boeing is a big part of it. So the sleuth question of value is, how much do you think Boeing is worth the US empire, even after Boeing's temporary screw-up? Well, how much is the New York Times worth if it was shut down for a year? How much was Geico worth after its bankruptcy? These hidden values are not just in the numbers. Yes, Boeing temporarily has lower revenues, less assets, less cash, a bad name, but it also has a big footprint in the space business, and this footprint will only get bigger. If you think the internet business is big, just wait for the space business. Jim Bezos will second the motion. He's been selling one and buying the other. And we haven't yet said much about war. Yes, war in space. President Trump said explicitly that in any future war, space will be a new battlefield. And who do you think will participate in making space weapons, space vehicles, and space systems to fight these new battles? Based on my own knowledge of the aerospace business and experience, and based on chats with friends who are still in it, I'm fairly certain Boeing will be there too. In sum, Boeing is worth, in my view, quite a bit more than what the stock is selling it. But would I speculate that the stock is a buy? Here? Not yet. Because I think the stock market has, first of all, to fall further, to clear all the false hope created by the mad Fed money printing. In fact, Warren Buffett's own favorite valuation ratio of market cap to GDP is at an insane 1.4 times. That's for the market as a whole, the highest ever. For the ratio to return to normal, both GDP must go up and the stock market should go down. Go down how much? I already said before in a previous clip that, in my opinion, based on my 1937-38 scenario repeat, the Dow Jones could go down to 15,000, half its peak, or about 35 or 40% below here. It may go down slowly, it may go down fast, but I think it's going to go down further. Since Boeing is the Dow stock, it would participate in such a fall. Boeing is now trading at $120 per share. So this would mean a bottom price of $75 to $80 a share below the March bottom of 89, in my view. However, it could then go higher, perhaps a lot higher, because the American empire needs Boeing to maintain its global power. And there's no doubt in my mind that this power, after the Corona blip and after the temporary China challenge, will only increase. How high can Boeing stock eventually go? At the peak, the stock was $435. If it will go ever there again, it will be more than 5 times from the coming bottom, in my opinion. How long would it take to get there? Oh no. On this, I prefer not to speculate. As per the old Wall Street rule, you can mention target price, or you can mention time frame, but never mention both together. But one more time, remember, the above is a speculation, not a recommendation. It's only an example of how to view value beyond the numbers. Please let me know in the comments below what you think of this. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell all your friends about it so they can subscribe too. I'll see you next time, and meantime, thank you very much for watching.